Welcome to my Hebrew channel, and today I'm looking at a number of place names that end in an emphatic nun. Emphatic nun is very much part and parcel of Hebrew. We see it in names, we also see it in verbs. Here I have picked out a whole lot of place names that end in the emphatic nun. So we'll start with Heshbon. Heshbon is where he had one of the first battles of the people of Israel as they entered the Promised Land. And Armageddon, the last battle. So I'm sort of starting with the first battle, last battle, Armageddon. So, and we find this word all the way into the New Testament as well. Book of Revelation mentions it. And Heshbon, Heshav is those who plot, those who plan. So when you see the city name of this place, Shehon, who's the king there, he's the one who plots, who has big plans, and has got it together technologically speaking. So Heshbon, place of the good planning, place of the good military strategy, place of attacking enemies with fire. And so Heshbon, very important spot. And this is where Israelites had to face this individual, Shehon. And we see that God gave the victory against Heshbon. Heshbon came, in fact, to become part of a city that one of the Transjordan tribes took over and was living in. Dibon. Dibon is Dalet Bet, and it's also just south of Heshbon. It's if you go from Heshbon down to Arnon, Dibon is on the way. The Dalet Bet is Duv. It means silent or sleepy. We find a dove, it's a bear who's very slow, a person that's slow. So it's a sleepy town, the very sleepy town, an emphatic O-N here at the end. Dibon, the sleepy town. Hebron, this one, of course, looks a whole lot like Hebron, and probably was very much equivalent of Hebron. And it's based on the avar, okay? Aleph Bet Resh means to cross over, to cross through. And so it's a word for crossroads. And this is probably the root word then for describing the next word. The next word is Hebron, and this is the crossroads town. In fact, it was first mentioned as Kiryat Arba, the four towns that formed Hebron. Okay, this is then the crossroads that came together for the Kiryat Arba. So it's a very important spot. Of course, it was the first capital of King David when he took over the tribe of Judah, and he was then in charge of Hebron. Was also mentioned during the time of Abraham. Abraham, when he first arrived, Hittites were living at Hebron. So still a very important place. The tomb of Abraham is still visible there to this day. Eglon means the calf, and it's a place name. So we have Melech Eglon, the king of Eglon, fighting it out with the Israelites. And also this was a name of a king. One of the Moabite kings had this name. In fact, he was the one that was killed by Ehud. So yeah, also a key name, Eglon. Sidon, if you go up on the coast of the Mediterranean, up from Caesarea up towards Beirut, you'll find Sidon along the way. And Sid is the hunter, okay? Somebody who gathers hunters. We see it in the modern name of the name that we have in the Bible, the New Testament, Bethsaida, the house of the hunter, the house of the gatherer, as the house of the fisherman. And so here it is too, Sidon, the house of the fisherman. The one fishing. This town was so important that even the whole region that stretched all the way from the shoreline inland was known as Shidon. Not just the town, the entire area, the entire region was also known as Shidon, okay? The house or the place of the fishermen. And Lebanon, this is Laban, and very well known for the word for white. You want to say something is white, even milk is Laban, white. And the word stretches way back. The countryside here is known as Laban. Why? Because of the high mountain peaks that were generally covered with snow, and being snow covered, they were white. And so Lebanon is the place of the white covered snow peaks. So Lebanon, okay, Lebanon, the real white place. Shomron. This is Samaria, and it's a place that, of course, took on a lot of importance during the time of Jesus because the Samaritans, of course, lived in Samaria. This was a place name of, or the name of the person who sold the hill to the Israelite kings. His name was Shimron, and the word is shamar, to guard or to be a guard post. And that's probably one of the reasons why it has that name. It's at the head of the valley, heading between the hill country and the coastal plains. Shimron is right there as the gateway from the coastal area into the interior. So Shimron, the gateway or the gate place, place that stands guard. Okay? Shimron. Gibeon. This is the place where the men dressed up in old rags and stuff and headed on down to talk to the Israelites of Jericho, to Joshua, and fooled them and said, hey, no, we came from a far off place and so forth. And so they made a deal, they made a treaty, which they shouldn't have done. But then, of course, the Israelites after that were required to defend them. And so one of the first military actions was to go to the defense of Gibeon. Gibeonites were spared, but they, of course, after that had to spend their time hauling the water and hauling the wood for the temple. So they actually were spared, but lived a life of servitude thereafter. The word Gibeon is Givah, and we see this in Gibeah, the peak, the high point, okay, the peak. And this is the really high point, Gibeon, okay, Gibeon. A place survives today with the name of El Jiv, held by people of Palestinian background, and so kind of a hard place to visit. Lots of interesting history took place here at Gibeon. And as you head down from Gibeon towards the coast, and there's the route that leaves the Benjamin Highlands down to the coast, you'll go past Beit Horon Elyon. Okay, the Beit is house of Upper Horon. Horon is the hollow. So you're going through a valley, and there's apparently a hollow in the valley, and this place, there's one on the top is called Beit Horon Elyon, and Elyon also is an intensive, the higher, okay, upper. We see this also in the name El Elyon. Okay, so here we have Beit Horon Elyon, the higher or upper Horon, the upper town that was at the head of the valley, heading down to the coastal plains. And just below the Beit Horon Elyon tenemos Beit Horon Tachton, okay? And Tachat means below, under, okay, lower. And so house of Horon, again, a hollow somewhere alongside the side of the valley. And Tachton means the lower one. So, and when there were battles and when there were trials and troubles, this is the escape route or the advancing route would pass right past both of these places. I've seen these places from the highway, never really had a chance to stop in and take a look at what is there. Beit Dagon, this is house of Dagon, house of wheat. Okay, that's what this the word Dagon means. Incidentally, this also does double duty as Dagon, king of the Philistines. And even today, you can travel along the coastal highway and you'll see great warehouses and you'll see Dagon on them. Oh, these are wheat silos. So Beit Dagon, like a house of wheat. Holon, this is the sandy place. When I first saw it in the Bible, I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. And it just sort of rummaging around in my head. It's actually a very large, today it's a very large suburb of Tel Aviv. And half of the Samaritans live in Holon. Okay, so the Samaritans who live in Holon speak Hebrew. The Samaritans are still living up there among Gerusim. Most of them have stayed with the Arabic. So, Samaritan people occupy the present place of Holon. That's many of them do work for the airlines El Al, and so they live at Holon. It's close to the airport. Heshbon, this is heavy, So it's apparently heavy soil. Okay, Heshbon. Okay, one of the place names is, or town names or village names. It's a very small place, way out towards the south, towards the Negev, and apparently had a place with very strong or heavy soil in it. Har Shalmon. This is the mountain here of Shal, the shadow, and Mon is then an intensifier right here, the mountain of the strong shadow. Okay, so apparently had a peak and apparently had a place in which you could have a good shadow. So Har Shalmon brings us to the last one, Har Mechidon. Okay. Now this is the mountain of Megiddo. Uh, the prophet Zechariah is the only one that uses the intensifier. Everything else in the Old Testament is Megiddo. Okay. Now Megiddo is a word that's very much lifted from neged. Okay. Nun gimet dalet. Neged is in front of. When it's used as a verb, it's used to report or to stand in front and give a personal report or personal work, one in front of another. However, this is also a place, it's a mountain, Har Megiddon. It's in front of the Jezreel Valley. It's right in front of it there. And so it faces up to the area in which many of the very extensive, important, key battles that determined control of the country were fought at this place. And so because of these very constant, it was constant warfare basically in front of this place. It's beginning all the way back from Thutmose III. He was talking about when he had to lay siege to Megiddo. Wow, it's a place with a lot of battles and a lot of fights. And so it's symbolic of the warfare, symbolic of the fight that's taking place. We started our study with Heshbon, okay, the place where the Israelites battled it out with Shihon, and we ended here with this last battle. We are all, at this present time, in the last battle that's taking place. Some of it physically. People are getting bombed. People are getting killed. Some of it emotionally. Some of it ethically. We have to make decisions as to how we're going to live. We have to decide who we're going to serve, who we're going to follow. So Armageddon is a very important spot to remember because at some point, yes, there is a battle between good and evil. There's a battle between the people of God and the people of the world. And we have to unite and bring together God's, we have to be obedient to God's will in facing up to the struggle that we have with the world that surrounds us. There are just so many things. This morning, I was out for an early walk with my brother, and we got to see some of the fentanyl use that takes place on the streets here, and it's really heartrending. And so we have to be involved in the struggle and bring the word of God to people so that they can turn to Jesus and be saved. Salvation only is one. There's only one source of salvation for us, and that's in the faith we must have in Jesus. And it's our duty to be involved with the world. We're not part of the world. We have to bring the message of salvation to this world, and we are involved in this battle that takes place with Armageddon, the mountain that stands in front. That mountain is a mountain of sin at this point, and we really do have to work hard to bring the will of God and to bring the teachings of God to the people that surround us. So God bless and God strengthen you at this time. Stay involved in the struggle. Stay involved with the battle that you have with evil in this world. Certainly there's a lot of evil in this world. Now I hear bombings and killings so have been renewed, and it's not a good place in this world. We have to be proclaiming the gospel of salvation at all times. God bless.